Hello everyone, I'm Gemma Beall and welcome to Attaining the Second Cognition. This is a continuation of my previous video on energy, but for this video I'm going to focus on how we energetically trespass on others. Sometimes we are aware of the trespassing, but most of the times we aren't. I will reiterate now, if anything in this video pisses you off, look within, because more than likely you are guilty of this type of trespassing and you know it. I personally don't know who does this, but I do know that I used to do this until I tapped into my Soika wisdom that this type of behavior wasn't an act of impeccability, so I stopped doing it. Most of the people that are familiar with energy work are Reiki masters, or those wanting to be. This modality has people believing that anyone can be a healer, though not everyone has that innate healing ability. It is healers that use this energy and have knowledge of working with energy, which makes them more dangerous, and most are certainly guiltier of energetically trespassing onto others. This is not being presented to criticize or shame anyone. Consider this a public service announcement from someone that has been there, done that, and wrote a book or two about it. A trespass, by definition, is to commit an offense against someone. We all know offense is a subjective term, but for the purpose of this presentation, we define a trespass as committing an act against someone that goes against their will or consent. Although I'm not going to pretend that this is a free will universe, even though everyone thinks it is, or that it should be, your will ends at the end of your nose. When it extends unto anyone else and goes against their wishes for them in their life, you are trespassing onto others with your will. You can't pump your fist for a free will and then pick and choose how others choose to use their free will for their life. Will is never free and shouldn't ever be unencumbered, because none of us live in this universe alone. Tyranny has reigned because free will, or at least the concept of it, has never been restricted. By the mere operation of this form, we energetically trespass onto others when our energy fields go into the energetic space of another, and our energies, including emotional energies, goes into their field and affect them. Empaths take the brunt of this energetic trespassing, and there appears to be nothing they can do about it. Appears to be. Now you understand why, with my shielding that I explained in my previous video, Energy Part 2, I put the intent that my personal energies do not go outside of my personal energetic space into others. I am an empath, a very sensitive one. This is why my shielding was created as it was. 1, to protect me from being trespassed upon energetically, and 2, to prevent me from trespassing energetically onto other people. I'm going to share a story that I had in my Advanced Teachings book because it is a classic example of the energetic trespassing I see from other healers and Reiki masters all the time. I too have been guilty of this practice myself before I tapped into my greater Soika wisdom about trespassing. This is an excerpt from my book Advanced Teachings. I was in a situation recently online where these people were doing a big healing session, and this isn't the first time I've witnessed something like this. As an observer, I did not contribute my energy or intent into the group because I wanted to observe the energies and intent, thinking I might pick up on some techniques I was unaware of. After all, I love to learn. What I witnessed not only gave me the heebie-jeebies, it concerned me greatly for the people that these energies were being directed towards. In walking a Soika path, impeccability is of the utmost importance. I don't use the word integrity because integrity is subjective. The one thing I had drilled into me when I was learning energy work with my guide friends is that you do not just randomly toss out energy, you definitely don't do it without specific intent, and you don't do it to others without their permission. Period. End of story. Even if you think they can benefit from the energy, doesn't mean your energies or your intent are welcome, and no amount of positive thinking and intent on your part will make your sending them energy to alter their life choices an act of impeccability if you do not have their consent. That is no different than walking up to a stranger in a store and cutting their hair because you think they will look better with a different haircut. You may be thinking this is an asinine analogy, but it is very appropriate for this type of situation. The circumstances in this particular healing session were that one of the people in the session's significant other's adult family was in constant conflict with each other and with the significant other. This person wanted the conflict to be healed. The consensus of the group and the person directing the group was to send healing transformation energy through the person requesting the healing, the person in the room, to the in-laws that wouldn't stop the conflict. I saw several conflicts of impeccability with this scenario. I will be the first to admit I do not like assholes, and I don't like people that purposefully create conflict and drama, but they are free to choose the life they live, and if they like conflict and drama, more power to them for their life. It's not my position to change them or the situation, even though I can. I understand the significant other not wanting to be a part of the conflict, and neither does the person making the request. But removing conflict from others isn't healing. It's exuding control over the lives of others. All you can do for your life is to remove yourself from the conflict. I specifically asked if the people whom these energies were being sent had consented to the healing. I was told no, that the energies were positive in healing, and that the people's higher selves could deflect the energies if they wanted to. I hope you see the problem I have with this statement. I made a suggestion that maybe they should focus their energies and intent on shielding the requesting party and their significant other from the energies of conflict, since they did have their permission, and I was told that the shielding wouldn't heal the conflict. As I pointed out, the people in question may not want the conflict to be healed. Therefore, shielding the others would have removed the energetic impact to the people that wanted away from the conflict, and since conflicts aren't one-sided, their lack of participation in the conflict is what could heal the situation. When I asked what intent they were putting into the energy, since intent is the most important aspect of healing, the response was that the conflict would be transformed. Now here's a serious case of lack of specificity. Transformation is to change. Putting the intent that the conflict would be transformed without stating what kind of transformation is like setting a fire in a forest with the intention to do a controlled burn, but not sticking around to control the fire. It can quickly get out of hand and have consequences that negatively affect the lives of others. I was then told that although my insights were appreciated, and I used that with bunny ears because it didn't sound like it was appreciated, it was not the time and place to bring this up, and I was given the analogy that it was like having a patient talking to their surgeon and another surgeon telling the patient that there was a better way, and it makes the patient have second thoughts about a necessary surgery. The analogy wasn't one that was remotely similar to this instance. A better analogy would have been it was a parent talking to a plastic surgeon about having their child's face rearranged to make them look better without the child having knowledge of their participation, and another surgeon telling the first one, "This is a total violation of your Hippocratic Oath." You get these healers that think that just because they can manipulate energy, that they have the right to do so for others, and just because the energy workers have positive intentions for others, that their positive intentions make it okay. Just because you can do something doesn't always mean that you should. Just because your intentions are positive in your perception doesn't make it okay. It just makes you a positive, self-righteous asshole. I know this because I used to do the same thing when I was operating in my Habim. What I see a lot of these wannabe healers doing, and what I saw in the example with these people, is that they weren't putting any intent into the energies, only intentions. Their only instructions were to send positive energies to transform the conflict with the hope that it reached the uninformed and non-consenting participants. Regardless of the ego-driven good intentions of such practices, it is still a form of energetic trespass, and virtually everyone in the modern New Age circus is guilty of such well-intentioned practices. When you gather in groups for mass meditations and toss your love and light energies into the world, you are simply trespassers on everyone else. You do not have the right nor the privilege to trespass in this manner. If you have never thought of this in your ego-driven fantasies, that you are trespassing on others energetically, you are hereby advised that it is a trespass and it stinks of a total lack of impeccability. I ask you this: what is positive? If you're talking about energy, there are positrons and negative electrons. Do the energy particles know what you mean positive as in emotions and not as in its positron? Doubtful. Who knows, but in this 3D world, in the human language, what does positive mean? Do your cells understand human language? No, they understand intent, and your intent isn't necessarily governed by your words. You see, these are the deep kinds of questions that should be asked when working with energies. Yet how many ego-driven human beings get a taste of energy work and just want to go tossing around without a thought about these things? Shall we say all of them? It is exactly this kind of irresponsible trespass that the greater powers of energy work from a Soikis sentience are not going to be given to thoughtless, Hapin-controlled human beings. By the same token, what does transformation mean? Transform means to change. If you say you're sending positive energy to transform a conflict, how do you know that the energy particle isn't going to positively charge itself and transform the conflict into a greater conflict? Specificity is one of the most important aspects of intent. You don't just state what you intend to happen, you get specifics with exactitude about what you intend to create. Healing is just another aspect of creation. Your words don't create, your intent does, and thinking and intent are not one and the same. Thinking positive thoughts does not create positive intent, and the word positive isn't enough of a detailed instruction to not cause confusion out there in the universe. I know these people in the chat room thought I was being a jerk for asking the questions I was asking, but I wasn't. I couldn't see any energy being raised or utilized. All I could see that there wasn't any intent being used, just half-assed ideas and wishful thinking being thrown out to the ether. When I asked them what type of energy they were using, the director of the healing session said, pregnant pause here, I'm not joking or being a smartass. This is exactly what this person said. The rainbow of healing, wrapping them in pink cotton candy love energy. I will be honest and say that there are very few things that leave me speechless, but all I could do was sit there with my mouth agape in horror. But it explains why I wasn't seeing any energy, because there's no such fucking thing as a rainbow of healing, nor is pink cotton candy love an actual energy that exists in this realm or any other. This person claims to have been doing healing work for over 20 years. If that doesn't scare the shit out of you into sobriety about the abuse of so-called Reiki masters, I don't know what will. These types of people are dangerous, and I mean that in all caps with periods between every freaking letter. When you are working with energy, especially if the use of the energy can affect or influence others, regardless if your intentions or intent is positive in your own mind, it doesn't matter. I always ask myself when I'm doing energy work that goes beyond myself, should I be doing this? If the answer is yes, I always, and I do mean always, find out why before I do anything. In working with energy, you have to have confidence in yourself, as insecurity and our confused thoughts can have repercussions not only to someone else, but also to you. There is a reason the expression, you reap what you sow, holds validity, and sowing energy infused with intention or intent without having the knowledge, wisdom, and impeccability to use it can and will backfire. As always, I want to thank everyone for listening and considering this information. I want to welcome all our new subscribers, and thanks to the ones that have been with us. I'm Gemma Beall. Until next time, stay the course and don't give up on yourself.